All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy Loyalist. And we are here to discuss two games. We're going to talk about two. One, obviously, we have yet to talk about, Loyalist and I together, what happened last Saturday. Boy, are we going to get into that. Boy, are we going to get into that. And then later on, we'll get a little bit of a sneak preview of what we're expecting on Christmas Day against the Arizona Cardinals. What's up, Wyatt? Appreciate you being in here. Everybody who watches this now or later, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video, just like the video I uploaded earlier with Kevin Bowen as we discussed the Cardinals game. Loyalist. So I haven't really got to talk to you too much other than, oh yeah, my Discord, in which we all are in there all the time talking football. Guys, if you want to join us on Discord, please use the link in the chat right now. That link will be good for, about 8 hours. So use that. You can join our Discord while we watch games and talk. All kinds of stuff goes on, man. Just feel free. A lot of people in there. But Loyalist, how was your weekend?
I would say it was probably the best weekend I've had in about 12 years, I think. Yeah, man, it's been Christmas is here, and I felt like it came a little bit early for me personally, makes all that Christmas shopping and bah humbug stuff go away a lot faster after having that, nice little win that we had last weekend.
Absolutely, man. It was an absolute blast. I had fun streaming that game, the live reaction. Now, my only issue was obviously that fourth quarter. I was like, what the heck is our defense doing? And I gotten so used to saying that over this entire season. Actually, the last 3 years under Eberflus, that whole kind of soft zone after the Colts go up by 3 scores heading into the fourth quarter. I get a little bit frustrated talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
But, Indy was able to hold on. Jonathan Taylor's like, I'm done with the drama. Just give me the stinking football, and I'm going to go to the house. And I'm going to drop one right here. And did you see what Blue did to J.C. Jackson and them as Jonathan Taylor crossed the goal line? He just did that. He did that pelvic thrust like he always does, right in the face of both the guys that was chasing Jonathan Taylor down in the end. John Davis juiced up. Terrence Cooper, what's up? Appreciate you guys being in here. Don't forget to hit that like button quickly, like right now. All right.
Well, I'll tell you what, as chippy as it got, I'm surprised they didn't take a swing at Blue.
Right? Oh, my goodness, man. Wentz season's in here, too. Good Lord, man. You could tell the frustration. You could tell the frustration of the Patriots. They were just getting out-muscled all game, and they're not used to that. They're a physical team, and they just got out New England, Frank Wright out Belichick, and that's just not something that team is used to. And I'm proud to say that our team was able to do that because in years past, we just weren't able to do stuff like that. And now, teams are on alert. After that, they're like, oh my, Indy's kind of scary. They will walk in and punch you in the mouth, right?
Absolutely. And shout out to Colts Nation, by the way. They really showed up big. You remember, we were talking about, man, just come out and give these guys the energy and let these players that aren't familiar with the rivalry. I'm pretty sure Quentin and Darius were like, oh, yeah, I like this. You know what I mean? So I love what the fan base and just what the whole city did. I mean, what a day. You had the Crossroad Classic. You had, all the basketball going on earlier in the day. And then you cap it off with a beautiful, like you said, just physical, just just controlling game over your vaunted rivals. What an awesome day.
Yeah, for the longest time, the Colts fans were like, the Colts-Patriots rivalry, and I'm like, it ain't been a rivalry. It ain't been a rivalry in over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Until we're able to go out there and beat them, you don't consider it a rivalry. Well, guess what? The rivalry's back on. All right, and honestly, a Colts-Patriots rivalry is good for the NFL. It's not just good for, the Colts fans and Patriots fans. It's good for the NFL because you remember the Brady Manning days, they were very high watched games. This was a very high watched game as well. And I think it's going to be fun to watch these games over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I just love the fact that, I imagine the Colts, in this game and Belichick sitting there, going, if I'd just spent another $30 million, we might have made this. You know what I mean? I love the fact that these guys, like you said, and I understand the fourth quarter, but honestly, I did have that, oh, come on, guys. You know what? It seemed to me like they started tightening things up. They didn't stay that way like they did earlier in the season. Like in the Baltimore game, it was like once they got stuck in that soft zone, they couldn't get out. I felt like, the secondary still, made their plays and stuff whenever they needed to. And then, like you said, JT just come in and said, drama, what drama? Only thing I need to know is, am I scoring or am I taking and going in church mode? Because I couldn't figure out. I was like, why is he running that way? Look, you're used to seeing the running backs look up the screen and see how far they got. And he kept looking over his shoulder, and I couldn't figure out, okay, that's just different, whatever. He's still moving it and stuff. But then you sit there and you hear about church mode, and I was just like, are you kidding me? This dude's sitting here running down the field at 20-plus miles an hour, and the first thing he thinks of is, what does the team need? And I'm just like,
yeah.
God bless him, man. I love that. I just love everything that message says.
Absolutely. Speaking of messages, guys, those of you that are watching live right now, I want to see in the chat right now hearts. I just want you to hit live chat hearts, and those of you that watch this later, I want to see in the comments hearts. This is my just to go out to Ryan Kelly.
Sure.
We haven't gotten the chance to talk about that. He lost his child, and that's why he didn't make the game. Our hearts go out to you, Ryan Kelly, and in order to show that, go ahead and drop hearts in the live chat and in the comments section, because man, I could not imagine going through something like that, and it's an awful feeling to know that someone is going through that. It doesn't matter who they are, that's just an awful thing to happen. And our hearts, thoughts, prayers go out to you, Ryan. Take all the time you need, man, because we can only imagine.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, my daughter, she had this seizure thing. I felt that way for about 6 hours, and it was, I mean, never do I want to go through this, and he's living it now, and it's just, like you said, I hope he understands, whatever, just take care of what you got to take care of, brother.
Absolutely. We got a bunch of guys in here. We're dropping them. I see Wentz season drop some hearts. John Davis just typed hearts. That's cool as well. Inside the Horseshoe Podcast, Terrence Cooper. Steven Crozio, who was a Titans fan, jumps in here. And believe it or not, I actually agree with him. And we will be talking about that later. Says that just know that losing to a losing team will make the Cardinals fight even harder against the Colts. And I agree with you 100%. And we will get to that later on. Lone Revolver with some hearts in here as well. Yeah. So, all right. That was my moment to put out for Ryan Kelly. Danny Pinter came in, filled in for him, did an admirable job in that game against the New England Patriots. Boy, Carson Wentz, 5 of 12, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 50-some yards. A lot of people want to make a big deal about Carson Wentz's, not exactly having a great game. And to be fair, he didn't. I'll be honest with you. And every quarterback in the NFL has a bad game, right? But I don't think that Frank Reich went away from Carson Wentz because, he was having a bad game.
No.
He went away from him because Jonathan Taylor was still doing really well. We had a 20-point lead, right, going into the fourth quarter. We had a 17-0 lead at halftime. At that point, it's run the ball, eat the clock, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And because you think about it, even if a team starts coming back, how much is that defense going to have when our offense does get the ball back? After going, like you said, after 3 quarters of just getting, physically manhandled, it looked like the offensive line was moving the line of scrimmage, through a lot of the plays, 2-3 yards before JT even got to him, So, yeah, I agree completely. Wear them guys down, so if their offense does start coming back or whatever, now our offense can still sit there and go against a defense that's gone through 3 or 3.5 quarters of JT time.
Appreciate you, Jonathan Drawdy with the hearts. We got Colts Cuts with the hearts in here as well. Says, sorry, I'm cleaning my room while I'm listening. So, hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Take a moment just to smash that like button, though. I'd really appreciate that as well. It really does help. It really does help with the analytics here on YouTube. But, yeah, this offensive line, defensive line, wow. Defensive line. We came into this game and they said, you know what? We're going to stop the run and put the game in Mac Jones's hands, right? And that's exactly what they did. They came in and stopped that New England Patriots run game and just was out physical them on that side of the line of scrimmage as well. And that was an impressive showing by our Colts front seven.
Yeah, and to your point, this defensive line, I know they're not getting the sacks, but they are getting in the face. They are making that a really tight, dirty pocket. And I understand we want the sacks. I understand we want the hits. This defensive line's getting there, guys. Okay, this is going to be this isn't going to be, we flip a switch and we've got a pass rush. You know what I mean? I really like what our defensive line is doing, like you said, pushing that line of scrimmage, making it that barrier for running the ball much tougher than what it was early in the season and stuff. They are getting pressure. Yes, Mac Jones had a good fourth quarter, but he still didn't complete his task. And it's not to his, he didn't, Mac Jones can't handle it or nothing like that. It was just our defense was getting enough pressure. Our secondaries tightened the screws back down enough to get us what we needed for the dub.
Terrence Cooper asks, is Paris Campbell due back this week? That was the rumor. I remember Frank Reich saying that the Cardinals game was something that they were looking forward to bringing him back. I haven't seen anything where it says that he was brought back from IR yet, though. That's a day-to-day process. I don't know 100%. Have you heard anything, Loyalist?
No, KB, gentleman you had on for the Believe, he asked them yesterday, and he just said that they were still, like you said, just nothing yet, just looking into it and keep an eye on the status.
Okay, good. All right. So, what was some other things about this Patriots game that, things that you took from it that you found that was noteworthy that you need to bring up right here?
Well, like you said, that offensive line depth. Danny Penter stepped in and did a really good job. You know what I mean? He didn't do great, but he did a really good job. And I'll tell you right now, against this Patriots defense and stuff, that's all you can hope for, from your second guy. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, just the way that yes, JT did the bulk of the running stuff, but you sit there and you watch Ashton Doolin on that 37-yard end run. That was a way to sort of lighten up the pocket a little, or the box a little bit. I just finding these new little intricate ways that coaches finding ways to loosen up the box, and it doesn't always have to be just because Carson's throwing that pass, you know what I mean? And yeah, Carson didn't have a good day, but you know what? If your quarterback can have a not so hot day and you can still sit there and take the number one team in the AFC and hold them and score, 27 points, 20 points with 7 from special teams, and not special teams. What about that? Bubba Votrone is doing it again, man. I tell you right now, he's got these special teams guys playing like what I consider to be one of the best special teams in all of the NFL.
Yep. White Law with some hearts in here as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, the special teams unit, they've been playing fantastic all season. All season. They were playing well last year, and this year is just even better. Really, only a couple hiccups. We had a couple fumbled, muffed punt returns by Hines this year, but other than that, they do such a good job at getting after punts, blocking punts, doing a great job of pinning guys back up against their own end zone after a punt when they punt themselves. When they do return the football, wow, on kickoffs, they do a darn good job of it. I mean, we all know. That Tampa Bay game, right? That return, that gave us a shot at winning the game because of that kickoff return. So, yeah, absolutely. Bubba's been doing a heck of a job over there.
And just the completeness. I mean, the completeness and the way we're winning these games. I mean, like last week, you sit there and you watch the Packers and Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things and stuff. But then you watch their special teams and the guys are looking between their legs going, what was that? Oh, that's a ball, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. You don't see that from the Colts. And that, to me, is things that I'm going to enjoy watching it. If we make the playoffs, I'm going to enjoy watching that completeness, that whole roster, whether it's offense, defense. We just don't have a massive gap in our team. You know what I mean? I'd love to have Blackman back. Yes, there's certain pieces I'd like to see a little strength, but I'm telling you right now, for this Colts team, if we can, knock on wood, stay healthy and keep things going the right path, I can't wait to see how much noise or whatever you want to call it that the Colts bring.
Speaking of staying healthy, some news dropped today that the Indianapolis Colts, this is going to be a scary situation. Rock Ya-Sin and Kimoko Toure both on the COVID list. That's going to hurt against such a really good passing attack of the Cardinals this week. Rock's been playing arguably the best secondary the best in the secondary for the Colts this year. And Kimoko Toure, even though he's only getting like 20% of the snaps, has been getting like his percentage from snaps to pressures and sacks is through the freaking roof, right?
Yeah.
And you need that against a Kyler Murray type, quarterback. You need a guy who could chase down Kyler Murray, who we all know can take off and run. The Colts are used to facing guys like that, like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and guys like that. So,
yeah, and then not to mention, a little bit further with that is, the Rock being out is like you said, I don't like that at all. But then you add in Sendejo, which, okay, why is that a big thing? Well, TJ Carey, I seen you tweet, TJ Carey could fill in at that safety spot. Well, now with Rock on, it's just that secondary is getting a little thin, and this is not Kyler Murray and the Cardinals receiving core. I understand they don't have D-Hop. I do understand that. But I'll tell you right now,
they got
Rondell Moore, Rondell Moore is nothing to sneeze at if he's able to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Christian Kirk.
Yes, I was getting ready to say Christian Kirk. So these guys have receivers. AJ Green, he's had a couple good solid games lately. So, yeah, this is not the ideal situation, but you know what? Even so, I would take this health situation versus where we were in weeks 1, 2, and 3. So,
yeah, definitely. Shreyless in here says, compare how the Colts done against Patrick Mahomes. Well, that game against Patrick Mahomes, Kimoko Toure's the guy who had, I think, 7 pressures and 2 sacks against him in that game, a couple years ago.
Yeah, when he got hurt.
Yeah, and then got hurt, in the third quarter. He was just a force that the Kansas City couldn't handle. He's going to be missed in this game. You talked about Sendejo and his and his concussion. That's a loss because I'm sorry. People want to talk about, well, he can't cover very well. Dude, he lays the wood on people. He makes people afraid to catch the football. I mean, if you watch that Patriots game, you were like, he hitting people so hard he's hurting himself. And
he plays that Bob Sanders football, where as a fan you just sort of sit here and you're like,
right.
Okay, he got up good. Next play, and then more of the same. Like you said, you see that, you just see him coming too. It's like this. whistle goes off in my brain when you just, and then the next thing you boom, and you're like, okay, is everybody going to get up and walk away? Because you don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah,
You want them to
exactly.
feel it, you just don't want them to get hurt. So it's like, okay.
I'm going to take a moment here. Guys, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live or upload a video with myself or Loyalist or whoever it might be on here. Most of the time it's Loyalist, depending upon how well he's doing. Guys, don't forget. All right, we have a bunch of stuff. I got some ads. I got people I gotta shout out, like my boys over in the Backroom Collection who support this channel. Right, like I said, you need some stuff for your Colts cave or your living room or something. They have some great canvas stuff. They got sign pieces, all that stuff. Go check them out. Don't forget to use my promo code. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts sign pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Guys, don't forget also, you can help support this channel even if you can't afford to use the link in the description right here to throw out a donation or a super chat or something. You could support us for free by downloading the free Newsbreak app and giving us a follow. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this Cardinals game coming up because it's a big game, Christmas Day. I will be live streaming my reaction to that game, and you may have a little bit of I might have some extra people in here to do so with, because we're talking maybe I might bring some of my Patreon supporters on here. So if you want to join Patreon, it's only $5 a month. You can come here and react to the game with me live. All you got to do is check out that link in the description for my Patreon. But, yeah, what a game. Now we got Cardinals on Christmas Day. Jonathan Taylor, number one running back in the NFL, averages 5.6 yards per carry. We have maybe the most physical offensive line in the NFL. We have not just offensive line. Our tight ends are great. Our wide receivers are great. Heck, Jonathan Taylor will even lead block for other running backs while they run in for touchdowns, right?
Yep.
And the Arizona Cardinals are the second worst run defense in the NFL, giving up 4.7 yards per carry. Oh. Wow. What are we expecting from Jonathan Taylor and the Colts rushing game against the Arizona Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm telling you right now, I think Coach, what he say, the new norm is now 200 yards per game. I'm thinking that the coach is like, you know what? If I was a betting man, I'd bet on
that. I think so too, and they're going to need to. They're going to need to be leaning on that run game and scoring points early in the first quarter, first half, because there's a reason, okay, that most teams, this why the Cardinals win so much. They don't give up a lot of rushing yards per game, only like 107 yards a game, okay?
Yeah.
It's because teams that play against them have to get away from the run because Arizona's done lit up the stinking scoreboard, right? Yeah. And they have to get away from the run and start passing the football more. Indy needs to score on all of their drives against Kyler Murray and this offense. Am I wrong?
No, because like you said, I mean, this is sort of, a couple years ago playing against the Rams, and you just had to score every time or the Chiefs whenever when they were really clicking. Not so much this year, but in years past, I remember back, the Rams of the greatest show on turf, or the Colts, during the Peyton Manning days, you always have to sit there and put that pressure on yourself of, yes, I don't want them to have the ball, but I want to score 7, not 3, 7 every time I can. And and I understand Jonathan Taylor and I understand all that, but here's my question. Do you think that Coach Reich, now let's remember, Carson didn't have a great game last week. The week before that was the bye. Do you think that Coach sits there and tries to get Carson a little more in rhythm, get a little bit more passing, more than the 12 that we saw last week against the Patriots?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals try to run in here and try to, with the intention of loading the box all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to stop that, one way of stopping something like that is running a spread offense, right? And then when you run a spread offense, you got a bunch of wide receivers out there. You could run the ball or pass the ball out of, play action and stuff like that. So little quick slants, wide receiver screens, things of that nature. Just real quick, easy passes for Carson Wentz just to get him back in the rhythm of things. I think you can see a lot of that early on in this game against the Cardinals.
Cool. Yeah, and like you said, I love to see that screen pass game. You get those ones that you're just really comfortable with, high percentage, and just like you said, get that rhythm, get that flow, and then like you said, mix in the JT, beat them over the head first, second, third, fourth quarter with JT, and then and let it fly whenever they say, okay, oh, everybody within 6 yards of the football. And that, that's when we get to see, maybe Ashton Doolin or T.Y. Hilton, say, hey, down here, wide open.
Right. Gardaki's playground in here says Wentz did all the dirty work on Saturday, and he's right. He was 3 for 3 on quarterback sneaks, right, and then added a couple extra, rushes for first downs. So, just because he didn't have a great day throwing the football that day doesn't mean that he wasn't out there moving the sticks, okay, and keeping the offense on the field and allowing that clock to continue to run. So the fact that Carson Wentz has bought in to the run-first mentality that the Indianapolis Colts have right now, and we all know that Eagles fans absolutely, running around talking about how Carson Wentz, is selfish and that, well, for him to be like, you know what, I'm going to hand the football off 40 freaking times a game, that doesn't scream selfish to me. Not in the least little bit. What do you think?
No, I agree. Because Carson has shown, like I said, from day one. I mean, and I'm not talking about game one. I mean, day one, whenever the trade was complete, just everything, from the offseason way that I understand. He got hurt. He got pushed back a little bit, but he didn't sit there and cry about it and hiss and moan about it. He sat there and they did the surgery. He really pushed himself with the rehab, and he got it, got himself in position to play again, and then good gravy. Did you guys see what happened to him in the Rams game? I mean, they made him look like Gumby, and he's still trying to get out there and play. And then the following week, okay, now I'm out here against the Titans. I can't walk.
Lucky to stand.
Yeah, so yeah, you know what? I'm sorry if that's how the Eagles fan base feels, and all I have to say on that topic is I'm glad that he's here with us. I'm very pleased. I think that Carson does have the ability to take this team, because now that's the thing. Carson can't get you to the next level. First off, it ain't Carson; it's the Colts. It's not one guy, and Carson does not. Even in his Eagles days, aside from 2020, he did not have a whole lot of turnovers in his career. He's always had a cannon for an arm. So, like I said, for the Colts organization and everything that we've seen, love it. Don't see a thing selfish. Very pleased with what we had. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like to give up less. I would always like to give up less. But you know what? first round pick and a third. I'm fine with that. That's and then the contract. Please, I am so hyped about having Carson behind center, and like you said, get him his rhythm and stuff. Keep him engaged. I think I read somewhere like 61% of Carson's runs last week were resulted in first downs. That replaces Michael Pittman in his third down receptions that he didn't have because he was sitting in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, if you go look at his stats right now, I mean, my goodness, Carson Wentz, he's got 3,000 yards passing. He's got 23 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. His interception percentage is third best in the NFL. Interceptions to thrown passes, right? He has the eighth best sack percentage in the NFL compared to, how many snaps passing attempts as opposed to how many times he's been sacked. Dude is fine. Almost 63% of his passes are being completed. I'd say probably 15 teams at least in the NFL would trade their starting quarterback for what Carson Wentz has put out there right now. At least. And
I'll be honest with you. I think if Philly fans were to be honest, I don't know that they wouldn't be one of those teams. I mean, because Jalen, I understand he can run the ball and stuff, but he hasn't shown up in the pass game. And then you sit there and you see what Gardner Minshew does, and I just, what I mean? I'm sorry. I feel like we have the better quarterback in this situation. Not as many years left, possibly, but still, what I mean? A lot of years left, a lot of championships to win. Let's put it that way.
So Jonathan Taylor needs 143 yards and 1 touchdown against the Cardinals to have 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 20 touchdowns on the season. He would join a very elite group of running backs in NFL history that have ever done that, right? What do you think the odds of him giving 143 scrimmage yards and 1 touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, there again, if the Colts can – real quick before I answer that, is this one of those games where you sit there and you get the coin toss and you say, no, I want my offense on the field? You know what I mean?
I think so.
That's something seriously, because I think if we can get that head start or get that – I mean, Coach Reich is awesome at, the graph, diagramming out the first drives and stuff. So let's go down there. Let's get our 7 and then sit there and say, okay, now defense. And I'll tell you, our defense does not like giving up leads. Have you watched what they've done lately? I mean, lately. I know the Patriots game, Bucks game came back and ended up that way, but they're also the defending Super Bowl champs. We've been putting these teams behind us, and they're not catching up nearly as much as they did early in the season.
I just want to say this. The Indianapolis Colts have had a 2-score lead every game the last 8 straight games. So, yeah, I would say go ahead and take the ball first, and then we'll see what happens, right? Lone Revolver in here with a $10 super chat from YouTube. Thank you so much. Says, look at Tannehill's first year with the Titans. People were saying that he resurrected his career. Carson has better stats than him in his first year with the Colts. So where is Carson's respect? That's a good question. There isn't going to be respect for Carson Wentz, at least by a lot of people. A lot of people want to see him do a good job for a couple years in a row. They were saying the exact same. After Tannehill's first year, they still weren't giving Tannehill respect. All right, it took that second year for them to go, okay, Tannehill is that good, right?
Yeah. And the people are so one game or one play judgmental and stuff that getting that respect is like, it's such a moving target. You know what I mean? Like you said, does Carson have to come out and put a Lombardi in the trophy case? Is that, where, because you even look at the games that the Colts lost. There's not a whole lot of those that I sit there and say, hey, Carson, you really hurt us in this game to the point that I feel like you shifted it to a loss from a win. I just don't see a lot of those games like that.
The Titans game.
Yeah,
at the very end. That was it. That was the problem. That was the
that
one
is the
game.
one that, at overtime. Yeah, but that, I mean, even the Ravens game, you sit there and you look at what Carson did in the Ravens game. What did he do to cost us that game? Okay.
Even the Tampa game, those 26 straight passes, ladies and gentlemen, he put 24 points up during that span. I mean, come on, right? So, my goodness, Carson, yes, he has boneheaded plays occasionally, but the problem is those get shown national media. Everybody wants to talk about those passes or those plays. About once every 3 games, he has one of those, what the hell was that, Carson, plays, right? About one every 3 games. But every game, it seems like he has a play where you're like, what was that, Carson? But no one ever wants to talk about those. No one ever talks about those.
I mean, he's had a half dozen of those just with his feet, not to mention, all the plethora of them with his arm and stuff. I mean, and you sit there and you talk about he has these bonehead. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks, I mean, especially this year, you haven't really seen. I mean, look at what Tom Brady did last weekend. You know what I mean? He had a game that, my point is these guys are quarterbacks this year have not been performing as flawlessly as what we saw last year with Aaron Rodgers and that ridiculous run. I mean, but so like I said, guys, I don't know where the bar is for me. If the bar was here, Carson's here. Yes, I want to see another year. That's why Chris Ballard got this contract, and took on this contract, because it gave him 2 years of commitment to one another to see if this is the right marriage. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you right now, everything I've seen from year one, if it can be duplicated and maybe added to like I expect it to be, guys, I'm telling you, be happy with it. Yes, if Peyton Manning's your bar, I'm sorry. Okay. Carson Wentz is going to miss that bar. All right. But if winning games, solid quarterback play, like you said, the right mentality for this team, I mean, did you guys see how he reacted to Judon the other day in the game? You know what I mean? He's not that, well, guys,
did you see what Judon did to deserve that reaction from Carson Wentz?
Yes, I did. That's my point. That's my point, though. He didn't sit there and, love Andrew Luck. He didn't sit there and go, "Oh, nice job, sir." No, he freaking got up and I love that. I love that fight. I love that grit in my quarterback. And you're going to have to love some of the things that he does, and you're going to have to hate some of the things he does. But the way I see it, the love is going to outweigh the hate by a far cry.
All right, guys. We're going to be closing in on the end of this stream, but first, real quick, I do want to bring up something. Anthony Hurt says, what are we going to do with our kicking position? And my personal opinion is, if Blankenship is ready, bring him out of IR, let him take over, because Badgley is missing kicks, and we can't have that. Now, he's had that hip injury. Specs has had that hip injury since the Baltimore game, since before the Baltimore game started, which is why he missed those kicks and why he's been on IR since. If he's ready to go, bring him back. Let Badgley walk, because I think a healthy Rodrigo Blankenship is by far the way to go from this point on.
Yeah, and especially, this team and the way we can't afford to have another last year of Vinatieri, where we're losing games because of missed field goals and stuff. This team's got too much going for it, and the trajectory is just, you can't, and not to mention, Badgley, you did a very good job, sir, but you're not Vinatieri. So
that's true. Badgley did a good job filling in, but the last couple games, he's missed some kicks that could have been, sealers in games, right? Like against the Tampa game, right? And then, he got lucky on that, missed field goal that he had on one of the missed field goals, because he missed 2, but the first one he missed, there was a penalty, allowed him to re-kick it, and then he made it, so he very well could have missed 2 field goals in that game rather than just 1. Badgley is one of those streaky kickers, right, where he could go on a run and be really good, and then he could miss 5 in a row, and I don't want that. Specs has improved his strength and his kicking during the off season. Has always been incredibly accurate. It was just the leg strength that was the problem. He really worked on that in the off season. We watched him dropping 65-yard field goals, in training camp outside, right? So yeah, I'm all about having Specs back if it's possible.
I remember going to training camp and Lawrence was with me on the first day, and I'm watching him kick, and I'm like, what are they talking about? This is the first time I'd seen him kick live. So I was just like, what are they talking about? Like you said, he was splitting the uprights from 50, 55, 60 yards. So like you said, I hope he's healthy. I hope, the Colts aren't sort of keeping things low key of something that may be bigger. But, if he's healthy, I agree. You can't sit there and risk losing any of these games because of a missed field goal.
Skylar and Kirsten, no one has really heard much about Paris yet. He's kind of day to day. We'll see what happens. We'll keep our ears to the grindstone and see, or not ears to the grindstone, ears to the ground, see what comes up. Maybe we might hear some chirping down the road. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. It's been over 40 minutes. I had my busy day today. Had Kevin Bowen on my Believe in Colts podcast, which you should go and check out as soon as this ends because it's a really good podcast. Thank you so much. Please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.